It's on this note that we're about to have the next keynote address. And I'd like to invite and welcome a distinguished personality who's going to come forward to speak on performing with purpose beyond profit to true impact. Ladies and gentlemen, this distinguished personality is a worthy achiever. She is full of wisdom, and everything that she's going to say here today will inspire us. Please put your hands together for Adesuwa, Okunbo Rhodes, as she comes forward at this time. Thank you very much. Please don't stop clapping till she gets here, ladies and gentlemen. Very brilliant speaker who's going to be speaking on performing with purpose, building beyond profit to true impact. Can we celebrate her, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I thought I was going to have a podium, but it's okay. I'll improvise. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you to Dr. Akin. Can't see him in the room, but thank you for having me. So my name is Adesuwa Okunbo Rhodes. I'm the founder of Arua Capital Management. We are an investment fund that invests across Nigeria into rapidly growing SMEs. And we are one of the few women-owned and managed funds in Africa. So we have a very strong gender lens mandate where we want to invest in female-led, female-founded, and female-focused businesses. So I'm here to talk to you about performing with purpose, beyond profit to true impact. So today we live in an age of extraordinary possibility, but extraordinary inequality. Capital is abundant, but it's unevenly distributed. Technology is exploding, as some of the prior speakers noted, but access still remains very limited. Talent is everywhere, but unfortunately opportunity is not. And in the middle of this, there is an uncomfortable truth, which is the systems perform exactly how it was designed to perform. And if these outcomes exclude women, and if they exclude small businesses, and if they exclude last mile communities, informal economies, the base of that pyramid, then the design has constraints that we have not yet chosen to confront. And that's why this theme, performing beyond, is so powerful, because performing beyond requires us to ask, beyond what? Beyond whom? And toward what outcome? And for me, the answer has always been, through my own trajectory and through my own career, that it has to be beyond profit, beyond the short term, beyond myself, but towards purpose and towards legacy. So one, purpose for me is a catalyst for performance. Performance has always been, for me, the engine, the driver, and also the compass. It guided me at 29 years old, when I was the youngest woman in Nigeria, to set up a private equity fund, but also the first woman in Nigeria to mobilize over $10 million in an institutional fund. Thank you. Thank you. It's very hard to set up as a solo founder. There are a lot of doubts, there are a lot of no's, a lot of rejections, a lot of slam-faced doors in my faces. But in those moments when I was told my strategy is too narrow, women-led funds don't scale, gender lens investing is charity, it's CSR, local capital can't anchor you, purpose helped me filter signal from noise. It helps you to push past that rejection. It helps you to push past those no's, because when you're building for something that is greater than you, the why actually helps you to keep going. When something you're building is going to impact not just you financially, but it's going to create jobs, it's going to improve lives, it's going to provide motivation and inspiration for others, then in those moments you're able to really push through, and in those moments you're able to find the energy to go again. So purpose is really a catalyst for resilience, It's a catalyst for performance. And that's the first thing that I wanted to leave with you today. The second thing, so what made me build bold? So let me tell you what I saw. I saw a continent where women make up half of the population. We have the highest rate of female entrepreneurship in the world, but only 2% of capital is going to female entrepreneurs. And when markets consistently underinvest in half of their population, they're not just being unfair, they're actually underperforming. And in my opinion, will never truly realize their potential. So when I set up Adesuwa Capital in 2019, July 2019, there were less than 10 funds in the whole of Africa that were female-owned and female-managed, that had reached a final close and successfully raised capital for their fund since 2008. So that's what I was up against. I couldn't see any female, African female-led fund manager that has successfully scaled their fund. But I saw potential everywhere. I saw potential in informal markets, where the informal trade in our markets is actually 95% of trade. And the engine of that informal trade is women. About 80% of the informal trade in Africa, which is $1 trillion opportunity, so 1 trillion, not billion, trillion, is driven by women, market women, that the best businesses and unicorns of today are providing payments, are providing infrastructure, are providing digital tools to. So I saw a very, very clear opportunity, and one that was very frustrating to me, because whenever I spoke about gender lens investing, people told me it was too small and too niche. So having that purpose, having that conviction, can help you move past some of those limitations. Another thing that I saw was I didn't just want to create another fund. I wanted to shape how private capital flows. Who is actually getting to make these decisions? Because we've seen that when female entrepreneurs pitch versus when male entrepreneurs pitch, the women are asked preventative questions. So the women go into a room full of 5 men, and they are asked, how do you intend not to lose customers? A man goes into the same room, and he's asked, how do you intend to grow your business? So that difference can only be changed when we have a mix of men and women in those rooms writing checks and making those investment decisions. So that's something that was very important for me. It's how do I make Adesuwa a case study so that the people that are making those investment decisions in those rooms include more women. Because when we have more women writing checks, when we have more women allocating capital, there's a natural trickle-down effect to women in our portfolios. So being able to reshape who's in those rooms is also reshaping who leads organizations. It's also reshaping who sits on boards. It's also reshaping who benefits from the profitability of those companies through more gender-balanced workforces, more gender-balanced supply chains and value chains. But this was not easy. It was not easy to make this pitch. It was not easy to, to be able to sell this dream. But we kept on going because, again, of that why. What is driving you? What purpose have you decided to anchor on? What legacy have you decided to anchor on that will make you to build with resilience and will make you also be persistent in your journey to fulfilling purpose and entrepreneurship? When purpose aligns with profit, so profit and purpose are not opposing forces. I actually believe that they work in tandem together. And for us, we've seen that at Adesuwa Capital as well. Our portfolios today, we've, to the glory of God, we now have $55 million under management across 2 funds. And we've seen that in our Fund 1, which was our first fund, which was a $20 million fund, our financial returns are actually above global benchmarks. So a lot of those naysayers, I should say, that were slamming the door in my face when I was raising Fund 1, and Fund 1, by the way, took me about 7 years to raise. So it was definitely a journey of resilience and a journey of perseverance. But that same Fund 1 today is performing above global benchmarks. We've invested in 11 companies. 70% of the portfolio is female-led and female-founded. Thank you. And we're supporting over 200,000 direct and indirect jobs. So when you build with purpose and you are also intentional about being very, very true to your convictions and being very, very true to the gaps that you've seen in the market, I strongly believe that profit follows, and I strongly believe that impact is also inevitable. So another thing, bringing impact to life, just to give a few examples of some of the investments that we've made. So we've invested in a few companies, 14 companies now across Fund 1 and Fund 2. One company is called Omni Retail. So this is a B2B e-commerce business. And it helps market women in a lot of the markets, Anakpaja, Mushin, markets in Surulere. They're working with about 150,000 retailers today. And they're helping them scale through digital tools, access to fulfillment, on the door, next day fulfillment, access to payments, access to working capital. And that company has been nominated by the Financial Times now 2 years in a row as the fastest growing company in Africa. So that's one company that is a standout performer in our portfolio. Another company we've invested in is a company called Coolbox. So this is a business that provides solar-enabled refrigeration to market women. So if you're a market woman in an off-grid area, you have meat, you have fish, you have to throw it away because there's no power. With Coolbox, you're able to refrigerate your meat, fish, have cold drinks, even if you don't have access to the grid. As long as you have access to the sun, for 4 days, you can have access to power. So this is another business that has grown significantly within our portfolio. We led the seed round. They're doing very well. They're now operating in about 25 different countries and continue to scale and execute very well. We've also made investments in healthcare. We've also made investments in fintech. We've also made investments in agri-processing. So it just goes to show you that when you are true to your conviction, building with purpose, you can really scale and multiply your impact. Because now we have a portfolio, as I said, that is supporting over 200,000 direct and indirect jobs. Another thing I want to talk about is the unseen side of purpose. So I've given some real-life examples of some of the impact that we've made with our investments, but there is also an unseen side of purpose. The discipline, the doubt, the resilience. It's not glamorous. It's the side that some people don't see. When the deal falls apart at midnight, when the fundraising target looks impossible, when the market rejects your vision, when the economy throws you a curveball, as it always does every 2 to 3 years, when emails are unanswered from investors for weeks, and when your conviction is substituted for uncertainty. So performing with purpose requires resilience. It requires perseverance. It requires grit. It requires a doggedness, not taking no for an answer. It really requires that. And for me, I think that if I didn't have my faith, I would have probably quit a long time ago. So for me, it was all of those traits, but also my faith in God, and my conviction that God is a God that can be trusted. So for you, it might be something else, but I think you have to have a lot of those traits, and you also have to hold on to God in those moments as well. So I guess a challenge to every leader in this room, whether you're an investor, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a leader in your organization, is build bold. See opportunities where others see gaps. Invest in ideas that others may consider too early, or too unconventional, or too small, or too niche, or too unfamiliar. Take that step and bet on yourself and be bold. Because bold builders are the ones that create the future for the world, and the world will eventually follow. So build bold. The second is execute smart. So use data, use technology, design for scale, not survival. So I always say to my team, we need to build today like how we want to look in the next 10 years. So it's build smart. Smart execution is what turns vision into velocity. It's what enables you to scale much quicker. If you're building like how you want to look in 10 years, then the investors that you want to see in 10 years will start to invest in you today. So execute smart. Third, perform beyond. So root your work in purpose. Let your metrics reflect market creation. Let your legacy be measured in lives improved, jobs created, systems strengthened, opportunities overlooked, not just in financial metrics, because the future of leadership today will not just be people that have made the most money. It would be people who can answer these three questions with honesty. What systems have you strengthened? What inequalities have you reduced? And what opportunities did you create? So that is my challenge to you. Those will be the KPIs of the next era. It will not be revenue. It will not be gross profit. It will not be net profit. It would be what systems have you created? What inequalities have you reduced? And what opportunities did you create, especially for those that are unseen and overlooked? So that is my challenge to you as we reflect on this summit and the theme of performing beyond. I ask each of you, what is your purpose that fuels your performance? And what story would you choose to write with your talent, with your influence, and with your capital? Because the continent that we envision and the world that we want will not be built by those that are meek or timid or refuse to start, but it will be built by those that build boldly, execute smartly, and perform far beyond just their personal gain. So let's continue performing with purpose, and I thank you for your time today.